goes to show you that even the littlest of hillside will tip your machine over. So, not the best start to the day. Had to figure out a way to get this thing jacked back up. But look at this, is maybe a foot off the ground. That was it. And the thing just totally tipped on me. I don't even think I had dirt in the bucket. Oh, I did, but yeah, so I gotta get this thing standing back up.
What's going on, guys? Jared here, JC's Lawn Tips. Today we're doing a video on the day I flipped my mini skid. Not a fun day by any means at all. I was stacking some dirt up at the shop there, and for whatever reason the one track kind of sunk a little bit and then the whole machine tipped over. Luckily I was able to step away from it before it tipped. My first immediate reaction was to shut the machine off because you don't want that thing running while it's on its side. I then called some relatives over for some help, and we used a floor jack to get under there, tied a chain up as high as we could around a tree, and then used my other truck to kind of pull it up. So it took a couple tries to get it, but we had it standing within about 20 minutes from when it fell. So I'm kind of grateful it happened where it happened. If this was a customer's property or a customer's job, we wouldn't have had these trees around us, to help go around and different things like these logs that we're using to brace underneath it. But overall, this was just such a interesting learning experience to try and handle. It's something you can never plan for. It's something that you never think would happen, but evidently it does. It's kind of funny because when I picked the machine up for the first time from the dealer when I bought it, they told me, give us a call when you flip it over. Like, they literally said that word for word, like when you flip it over, not like if, when. So that kind of should have been a red flag right there. So obviously we wanted to do this as safely as possible and just get the machine upright. So it took a little bit of adjusting. You could see the machine wanted to turn, so we had to move that chain up to about the loader arms. Found a good tie point there and repositioned it to make sure it would work. It was just not a fun day overall. I was just in the moment a little irritated. You can see right there, we just get it up there, stop it, and then my next plan here, I'll show you what we did.
What's going on, guys? It has been a day out here, I can tell you that. But I want to take this as a learning opportunity for you guys. I never thought in a million years I would flip this machine, and I wasn't messing around. I was not being stupid. I don't mess around when I'm on any piece of equipment. It's not funny. It's not anything to joke about because these things are and can be dangerous. And I want to show you guys just the even slightest of an incline will screw you up. So take a look. So as you can see, we got the machine upright. It was tilted on its side this way. This is the bit of an incline it was on. It wasn't even as high as this, but it's about maybe, compared to the other side, it's maybe a foot of difference, not even. So I'd say around 8 to 10 inches on one side. So the machine itself was probably about like that when it tipped. So not much at all to tip these little things. This is the narrow track that doesn't help me with stability by any means. So I called the dealer on a Sunday, and the head mechanic guy, he called me back and basically said, do not start it, which they told me when I bought this machine. They said, hey, when it tips over, pretty much saying you're probably going to tip it, don't start the machine because that can cause problems and all this other stuff. So basically what I have to do now is get this thing loaded onto a trailer. I got to come along and some chain. I'm going to try that, see if that works. But they said do not start it. They need to take the injectors out. They need to make sure that filter's cleaned out and a bunch of other stuff. Make sure the engine's got the right, like air pressure and stuff. Compression test is what I'm thinking of. So I need to get this thing on the trailer, and it's going to cost me probably anywhere from $600 to $1,000 to have them go over it and make sure it's good, which absolutely sucks because as you guys can see that little sticker right there, I bought the extended warranty for this machine, and I completely get it. Me tipping the machine is not going to be under the extended warranty, but I don't know, man. It just is, it's not fun. So I'm gonna get this thing loaded up and hopefully I don't get rained on. Alrighty, so I got the chains hooked onto the machine, wrapped around it, and what I'm doing now is I just pulled it out of that little area. I'm gonna get it on a straight shot so I can back the dump trailer up. I'm gonna use the come along to drag it up the trailer. They told me not to start it at all. I'm just gonna get this dirt out of the bucket, and I don't know, hopefully Hopefully the repair bill isn't too bad, but we'll see. Okay, so I finally got it in a straight shot. That took about 5 minutes. Not bad at all. Actually went way smoother than I thought it would. So now I just got to back up the dump trailer and try and load this thing on. Got the handy dandy come along. Just picked this up at Harbor Freight, 8,000 pound, capacity for 35 bucks, 36 bucks. So can only go in 10 feet at a time, but definitely hopefully it'll work. Try it out. Alrighty, this is the plan. Dump trailer up a little bit in the air so that I can have the ramps at about the same degree when I pull them out, so it's more of a straight shot, trying to pull it up. I got a chain on here, chain in there, because that thing's only 10 feet long, and hopefully I can pull it right up the dump trailer.
Now this right here is one of those things you learn after you do something. I thought I was saving myself some time by getting a come along, trying to get this thing loaded up on the trailer. You can see it worked really well until we started getting on the ramps. Then it got really difficult, started getting slippery, so I set this like orange strap up to try and like hold on to. We got like a big bar to try and pull onto it and all that other stuff. It was just a big mess. So learning what I know now, should have called like a tow truck and just had it haul away. Honestly, that didn't even cross my mind. Just never thought of something like that. But in reality, like, this took way longer than it should have. We spent like 2 or 3 hours the same day it happened just to get this thing up here. And then I had to come back the next day to finish getting it on there. But it was at the point where it was pretty much on the trailer, and I'm like, I'm not going to give up now.
And that's as far as we got. Busted a D-ring in the process on the trailer, so we can't use the come along anymore. Literally only have to get it 4 feet farther and we would have had it on here, but instead, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. Figure it out again tomorrow, I guess. Alrighty, welcome back to day 2. We are taking off the front of the trailer right there because we busted the D-ring yesterday. At this point we gave up and we're gonna call somebody to come get it, but since we're so close, we're gonna try one more thing, and if that doesn't work, we are going to call somebody to have them pick it up, because you can see right here, this is where we busted the D-ring yesterday. Did not go over so hot, and we put the come along here, but it's pulling it this way obviously, so we need to get this more centered. That's why we're going to hook to the stake pocket right here, and hopefully that will work to pull it up, because we only have to come up like another 3-4 feet and we'll be good. We got it up this far, just got a little bit left to go, and it's on the trailer and headed to the dealer. This is a huge blessing to be able to get this up here right now. This is our rigging. All right, after about 8 hours, we finally got it up here. Had to take all the sides off, busted this D-ring again, like I said before. We have these binders going to the stake pockets temporarily because I can't use that D-ring. In the front, we're using the D-ring. Was able to turn on the machine just enough to open the valve up to drop the bucket down, so it's sitting on some 4x4s so they can forklift it when they get there. But it's kind of interesting without these sides on the trailer, that's for sure. But yeah, got my confidence plus warranty that unfortunately none of this is going to be covered under, so that's kind of very frustrating, but I also kind of understand at the same time. So I'm just hoping that get this thing fixed and back in operation, because this has just been a very, very frustrating past couple days.
You heard that right. Took about 8 hours all in all to get that machine loaded up. Like I said before, knowing what I know now, definitely would have called the tow truck or something to have them take care of it. So we got to the Vermeer dealer, my Vermeer dealer, Vermeer, Wisconsin, and they said just back it into the shop. They had an overhead crane that they were just going to crane it off. I didn't know having the bucket on it was such a big deal. They were kind of like, hey, we need to take this off. I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't think it was a big problem. I guess they just don't want to have extra attachments laying around and whatnot. Makes sense. So they disconnected the attachment from there. He was able to just turn the key on to open up the valve to get the loader arm all the way up. Because once the loader arm's all the way up, there's actually a hook on the loader arms that's kind of like centered, and it's made for lifting the machine by. So he's able to hoist it up, which you'll be able to see here in a minute. So like I said, knowing what I know now, definitely would have gone either the tow truck route or instead of having that come along, because that come along broke once. It was under warranty, so I got a new one for free, but it's still just the amount of time I wasted was just ridiculous. I would have also The other option I would have went through with is if I had a winch or an open trailer that had a winch on it, I would have just gone that route, winched the thing up. I almost bought a winch that day, but I'm like, I want to spend like $300-400 for something that will get used like once every few years. Not now. Eventually I will have a winch, and I will have a deck over trailer that I can just winch this sort of stuff on when stuff happens. But ideally, for anybody listening, don't be stubborn. Don't try to do stuff yourself all the time necessarily. Do what we did work, absolutely, but we could have certainly been doing other things. So this was definitely an interesting sight, seeing my machine lifted out of my trailer and moved over to where it was worked on. Now they were able to work on it and got it back to me the next day, and it did not cost me $600 or $1,000, which was great.
Alrighty, just picked up the machine, and wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. It was supposed to be a lot more. $383.73. It's all fixed up, ready to go, and I get to take it back and put it back to work. So very excited, very happy that I can use this thing again.
Takeaways from this video that you should be thinking about. Number one, don't flip your machine. Don't flip your rental machines if you can help it. Obviously, I didn't do it on purpose, but hopefully if this ever happens to you, do not start your machine. If it flips over, turn it off immediately, because what can happen, and here's the other thing too, is people will tell you, hey man, like, yeah, I flipped my machine dozens of times. All you gotta do is let it stand up and let that oil drain down, it'll be fine. It probably will be, but the problem is if that oil gets past those O-rings, you could potentially blow up that motor or cause future problems. So that's why, as much as I hate to do it, I just took it to the dealer, had them deal with it, because I'm pretty mechanically inclined. I could have took those injectors off and see if there's oil on top, but I'm like, I don't want to screw something up on this pretty much brand new machine when this happened, and potentially just ruin the whole future of it when I spent that much money on it. So I'm like, well, we'll just take it in. Yeah, it was $380 some, but that was way better than the $600 to $1,000 I got quoted. But at the same point, I'm like, I just want to make sure it's right. I'll sleep better at night knowing that my machine is the way it needs to be. So for our future reference, do not start your machine. Get it standing up as fast as you can and take it to your dealer. Have them look at it, have them do whatever it takes so you can be back up and running and making money in your business. Also, like I said, probably 40,000 times in this video, call a tow truck. Don't try to use a come along unless you have a winch. If you have a winch, you could probably get by. Otherwise, don't waste your time. But guys, this is me flipping the mini skid. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you learned something for this, and hopefully it never happens to you. All right, guys, we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.